Halloween is without doubt one of the creepiest times of the year. There are tales of many mythical creatures from all around the world, but there seems to be a large number of them originating from Irish legends. So today we'll be taking a look at 3 chilling Halloween entities. The Celtic Demon King. Celtic mythology has long focused on evil spirits, demons, mythical entities, and sometimes Celtic monsters. While there's many spiritual entities to look at, the Celtic Demon King is most definitely an interesting one. This demonic god goes by the name of Balor, and is sometimes also referred to as the God of Death. Legend has it he only has one eye, and a single enormous leg. But how did he get this way? As a young boy, Balor looked at a fatal potion, and the fumes resulted in the creation of his large eye. He differs from other kings, as he is the king of the Fomorians, which is a demonic race where you'd find demons residing underwater in the sea or lakes. The Fomorians threatened the residents of Ireland for many years, until they were defeated by a god race, known as the Two-Third Deer Danann. It's said he could end the life of anyone simply by staring at them with his eye. He kept his eyes shut most of the time though to avoid taking anyone's life by accident. Although this is so, he still provided the Fomorians with victims on a regular basis. Unfortunately for Balor, he was attacked by his grandson Lugus, who ended his life with a slingshot. Ever since the Fomori, monsters have returned to the sea and are now sea monsters who hunt humans. Lugus was an ancient Celtic god, in which Julius Caesar identified with the Roman god known as Mercury. The early Celtic world was heavily influenced by his presence, and his name still remains an influence on European or British places such as Leon, Leon, and Carlisle. Carlisle was previously called Lungavalium, translating to strong in the god Lugus. It's interesting to see the role this story has had on Ireland and other European countries. It's still shared to this day to keep the legend alive. Another interesting entity is Derek Dhu, the Irish vampire. The next Halloween entity is an Irish vampire known as Derek Dhu. The name translates to bloodsucker, which is fitting as this female vampire was said to seduce men in order to suck their blood. The legend dates back to Celtic origins of a woman who is known for her beauty, and was also well known throughout the country. After falling in love with a peasant who her father didn't approve of, she was forced to marry a rich man. She had plans to start a family with the man she fell in love with, but her father gave her to a rich man in exchange for land and money, and he did this for himself and his other children. She begged her father and pleaded in the hope she wouldn't have to marry the other man. On the wedding day, she was dressed in red and gold and looked more beautiful than ever. While everyone enjoyed the party and had a fun night, she vowed that she would one day seek revenge on her father. She was deeply unhappy in the marriage, and her husband treated her bad. Her new husband was cruel and only saw her as a trophy wife, and as a body to use for his own needs. She reached a point of no return and took her own life. Her husband had already found another woman to take her place, and he had done this before the first wife's funeral. They were struck with grief, and her lost love was the most upset of them all. Visiting her grave every single day, he would proclaim his undenying love for her, and pray to see her again one day. Although his love for her was a beautiful sentiment, it was not enough to bring her back to life. Seeking revenge, on the other hand, seemed to be enough for Derek Dhu to return to Earth, coming back from the grave as an evil spirit. With no hesitation, she made way for her childhood home to find her father. Standing above him as he slept, she sucked his blood and took all of his life from him. Next up on her list of revenge was her previous husband, who was surrounded by women. Not realizing she was in the room, she grew angry until she reached a furious rage. She pounced on him, taking every last breath and drop of blood from his body. Feeling the blood run through her veins made her feel more alive than ever. As her hunger for blood grew deeper, she eventually forgot about her one true love who'd been waiting for her return. Soon after, he became one of her victims, and she continued to prey on other men. Using her beauty as an advantage, she was able to lure them in, promising her body to them. One after another, they all fell for her trick, and she sank her teeth into their skin, sucking their blood in an attempt to quench her thirst. The more men she took the life of, the more she craved the blood. The blood gave her strength she'd not had before, and she was consistently on the hunt for more. Luckily for the men, she's only able to come back to life on the anniversary of her passing. To this day, locals meet at her grave in Waterford and put rocks on her grave to stop her from rising from her coffin. Sometimes rocks are found misplaced, or it's said that she's able to move them, and if this happens, men are told to be on the lookout. The last entity is Carmen the Celtic Witch. Our last story is one of the Celtic witches called Carmen, who is a goddess of evil magic. She was a warrior originally from Athens, who arrived in Ireland in an attempt to evade the country. She brought her 3 sons, Dub meaning darkness, Dotha meaning evil, and Dane meaning violence. She did this in the hopes of taking over Ireland. Collectively, they would destroy anything that was in their path, and eventually cast a spell on Ireland's crops, terrorizing the people who lived in the country. Eventually, they were stopped in their tracks by peoples of the goddess Danu, who fought to capture her to put her in prison and force her sons out of the country. She passed away from grief in prison and was buried in Wexford. She is still known to this day and remembered by the Celtic people. After looking at the tales of these chilling Halloween entities, we're able to see the way in which Celtic mythology plays into Halloween stories. So what do you guys make of these Halloween entities? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.